It's RJ. I'm doing another car chronicle. I did two yesterday. I'm doing another one today. And this is a shout out to Tay. Tay, was watching my video and kind of hit me on to the fact that Charlamagne and Derrick Jaxn had a sit down. And I wasn't even aware. So shout out to Tay for that, for letting me know. And that's what I'm saying. Let me know, y'all. Like, when you watch my video, I know I be tripping or laughing and joking or whatever. But real talk, like, I'm not just on here, like, just to be doing it. Like, I'm on here, I want to be educated. I want to educate whomever else wants to be educated. I want to have discussions, like, real life. Like, I really, like to meet new people and joke and trip and shit. But, if there's something I need to know, please let me know. So thank you, Tay, for letting me know. So, okay. So after Tay dropped that little tea on me to let me know that Derrick and Charlamagne, they sat down and talked, I did look it up on YouTube. I was telling you that I hadn't looked at any of Derrick's videos on YouTube because I'm already a follower of his on Instagram and on Facebook. So I just, I don't know. There's no reason for it. Like, and I don't even want to call myself a follower, but I do support him because, like I said, he is an advocate for, women mostly, in the Black community and Black love. So, or love in general. So, I support him and I like him, besides the fact that he is fine as hell. Let's put that aside for a moment. We're talking about facts here. Besides the fact that he is gorgeous, he has a good message and he speaks intelligently, and he uses facts, provides facts, so I can support that. But anyways, so as you know from my car chronicle yesterday, I did two. I did one on Neve Schulman from Catfish, and then I did one on Charlamagne and Leonard. And so when I read the comment that Tay left for me, letting me know that, asking me if I knew that Derrick and Charlamagne had sat down and talked, I was like, nah, I didn't know that. So I watched Derrick's video. He made it about a week ago. It's about 9 minutes and like 20 seconds. Really good videos, like straight to the point. And the other reason I like Derrick Jaxn is because, as y'all, I curse like a sailor, and I apologize to those that are offended. We all have our demons. We all have something that we're trying to work on. And I've been cursing my whole damn life. Okay, I just can't help it. I'm 41 and I curse. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't take drugs. I'm not a chester or an abuser. I don't cheat. I don't lie. I don't steal. So I got to do something. I do a little bit of gambling from time to time, like twice, maybe 3 times a year. But I curse on a reg. Okay, honey, that's part of who I am. But at the end of the day, we all got something we working on ourselves. And cursing is one of them. But, honey, all the women in my family curse. So that's just part of who I am. But anyways, I digress. So really quick, let me sum up the video that Derrick put out. Like I said, go check it out. And he pretty much gave the rundown. He said he flew out there to where Charlamagne was, and that Charlamagne reached out to him. Let me just throw that out there. He said that, he was recapping the fact that he had put out that video about, Charlamagne's podcast, about this situation where he put Spanish Fly in the young lady's drink, and his own drink, turns out, as well. But whatever, at the end of the day, the whole caption said rape, R-A-P-E. At the end of the day, that's what I took out of it. That's what Derrick took out of it. I believe a lot of other people took that, took that message out of that as well. So anyways, Charlamagne reached out to him. Derrick said that he was not disrespectful. He was very respectful, on some like, dude, let's get together and let's just talk this out and clarify a few things. Pretty much Charlamagne wanted to clear his name. So in Derrick's video, he said that they agreed on 2 things. One, they agreed on the fact that this is not about him nor Charlamagne. Okay, this is not about Derrick or Charlamagne. They both agreed on that. This is about getting the message out there to the community to let them know different topics, different issues. This is about educating other people. This is about communicating and being honest and being open and being transparent and sharing information to the community, to our community. to society. That is what it's about. It's not about any beef or any, issues that they may have with each other or anything, or it's not even about them in general being the ones that are giving the message or providing the feedback. It's about the message that's being communicated, on social media. Okay, they have a platform and they should be using this platform for good. Okay, like I say, use your powers for good. I say that all the time. And so, that was the first point that they agreed on, that you're right. Like, it's not about us. It's about educating and reaching these different places, these different people, and, letting these folks know that, this is what's going on. The second thing that they agreed upon is that by all account, right? By everything that was said in that podcast regarding this topic, with putting the Spanish in the young lady's drink and for having sex with her, and his responses and what he was saying and laughing and kikiing and all that, by all means and all account, it was rape. Okay? Hands down, period, point blank. That what he described, with her blacking out, with them being like halfway, like knowing what's going on, halfway not, and being in that situation, having that type of situation go on, and you've been, you're inebriated in some kind of way, whether it be alcohol or drugs. In this case, it was Spanish fly. It all came across as rape. And the fact that he was laughing about it and bragging about it and discussing it, it was a bad look. And Charlamagne agreed with Derrick that the way that it came across and the message that it gave, it sounded like rape. And he agreed with him on that. So they agreed on those 2 points. Charlamagne did say that he did not agree with Derrick on the fact that he was tagging some of Charlamagne's friends, mostly female friends, because, Derrick was just trying to state, and I agree with him, that if you're friends with this man and you may know about it, you may have heard about it, whether you were there or not, but second, third hand information, whatever it may be, that you were made aware of what may have taken place and you did nothing about it, you didn't report it, or you didn't try to help, or you didn't try to have a conversation with Charlamagne, whatever the case may be, you are an enabler, is what I call them. But what Derrick calls them is a predator protector, which I totally get that. But what he was saying was, the reason I brought their names up, bruh, is because I'm letting them know that you have a platform just like myself, just like Charlamagne, and you talk about everything else. You bring everything else to the surface. You discuss everything else. You debate everything else, right? You want to have a platform about everything else, but you don't want to talk about the fact that your boy that you cool with has gotten on his podcast and admitted to raping a woman while she is unable to give consent. She is, in and out of consciousness. And he on there and you support him and you friends with him. Why you don't pull him aside and say, yo, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. And if that's what you did, that's wrong. Like, that's rape. That's not right. What you described is rape. But what he was saying was, the reason I did that, Charlamagne, that's what Derrick was telling him, is because I just wanted it to be known that they have a responsibility too. And so this whole idea about the predator protector is a person, like I said, I call them an enabler. Okay, which is the same thing as what Derrick is saying. As a predator protector, you're somebody who knows it's going on, and you don't either you don't say anything to the actual predator or the rapist, or you don't tell somebody else about it. Even if you don't want to approach him or her, you go and you should tell somebody of authority that can look into this, that can investigate it. And what he was saying is that he was shouting them out, calling them out. And he said he was out hot on the block. I like that. That was cool. But his point was that, yeah, I was calling them, I was throwing their names out there. I was name dropping. And that's what Charlamagne said he didn't like, that he was name dropping. Yeah, I'm name dropping because I know you cool with these folks. And these are people that are your friends, but they're not holding you accountable. And I completely agree with Derrick. I mean, everything that Derrick was saying, you know what I'm saying? Like he said, fuck the bullshit. Like, at the end of the day, he was saying also, to go along with this, was that there was this guy, Andrew Schultz, and some other cat with dreads that was also there with him when he met with Charlamagne. And he said that the other dude with the dreads was like, the other guy, not Andrew Schultz, but this other guy was like on some other shit, is what he said. That's what Derrick said, that he was talking about how, you bringing down a black man, well-known black man, da-da-da-da-da and all that. And, know that the actual podcast, he was mad because Derrick, didn't the whole podcast. I guess it was like an hour and 26 minutes, if that's not the wrong time. And correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Whoever watching this, let me know if I'm wrong. Drop a comment. But I think in Derrick's response, he said that the podcast was like an hour and 26 minutes, and that this Andrew Schultz guy was upset because he didn't discuss the whole entire podcast. He only discussed that part, and because he said if you had, then you would have known, Derrick, that the actual podcast was about educating people about rape culture. Okay. And that this is going on and, trying to actually educate people and help people. So he was trying to help with the idea of rape, that he's against it. But like Derrick said, you gave an example about yourself in a situation that was completely opposite of what you were trying to convey to the people that were looking at the podcast. And he's right, because I looked at the podcast too, and I didn't get that. I didn't get that they were trying to support survivors or support victims or trying to educate people about rape in the community. I didn't get that either. So for him to be like, oh, Derrick, you took it the wrong way. You didn't even look at the whole podcast. We were trying to educate. Okay, bro, I didn't get that either. Leonard, aka Charlamagne, and your boy Andrew Schultz, and whoever the other dude is, I didn't get that either. So if that's what you were trying to convey, you did a very bad job of it. I want to let you know that you needed to get with somebody to help you with that podcast before you did it, because that's a very sensitive subject, especially nowadays. And the thing is that if you were trying to bring awareness to rape and what's going on in our culture and our society, you did the very opposite. And that's what Derrick was telling him, that if that's what you were trying to convey, I didn't get that. And I'm gonna be honest, I watched the podcast too, and hey, real talk, real time, true life, true story, I didn't get that either. So Charlamagne, you're gonna have to do better than that, boo-boo, if that's what you're trying to do. If that's really legitly what you was trying to do, pimp, you're gonna have to do better than that. You need to do another podcast to clear up that other podcast. I don't even know, honey, but I know right there, Hunter, that is not what I got from it at all. Okay, so I agree with Derrick. Like, none of that shit came off like that at all. I mean, he was on there laughing and joking and kikiing and making fun of the whole situation, the whole topic. He was making a mockery of it. So if that's what he was trying to do to convey against rape, I would hate to see what he would look like or how he would communicate if he was trying to support rape. Goodness gracious. If that's something, I'm just saying on the opposite spectrum, because I totally did not get that at all. And so, I mean, pretty much at the end of the conversation that Derrick had with Charlamagne, he pretty much said that he at least respected him, because, when Charlamagne heard about, Derrick's response, he immediately jumped up and contacted Derrick to have a sit down with him to clear the air and to, verify what his whole point was and, what his stance was on the subject, and to let him know that that's not what his intentions were, to, make it worse or to seem like he supports somebody who would rape somebody, or that's what he was doing. Like, that's not what he meant to pretty much communicate. That's not what he was trying to do. So he said he at least respected him, because he did, come to him as a man, and he reached out to him to have a conversation, have a dialogue about it. So he said he did respect him for that. But he said that he's not 100%. Derrick said he's not 100% on board as a supporter with Charlamagne. He did say that as well. But that he at least, heard him, and they sat down and had an adult conversation. And they discussed it. And so he said he felt good about that part. So, he said he, takes his hat off to Charlamagne, at least for that. I guess I have to give Charlamagne, his dibs on that for responding to it, because he could have just ignored it and like not responded to it or talked about it, but he didn't. He actually stepped up and, talked about it with him. So, I give him that, but at the end of the day, that don't clear up how it looks or what was discussed or what was said or how he handled it. It doesn't clear that up, because, you can't take stuff back like that. You say it, you drop it, you know, you can't take it back, unfortunately. And so, you know, yeah, I'm glad they sat down and discussed it and clarified a few things. But at the end of the day, it does not take away that image I have in my head of how he acted, Charlamagne. I mean, really, Leonard? That's you? Come on, dude. I mean, and you know, you have kids, you have a daughter. I mean, how do you communicate this to her? You know, I mean, I don't, like I think he does have kids. I don't know if he does or doesn't, so don't quote me. But if he has a daughter, God forbid. I mean, this is just awful. And like I said, you know, in my other video, I was indifferent about Charlamagne. I mean, excuse me, I thought he was a little cocky and all that. And, you know, sometimes he say things he shouldn't say. He don't think about the repercussions, or maybe he just don't give a shit. I don't know. Because I watched, like I looked at some of the comments on Derrick's video that he did about his conversation with Charlamagne. And, you know, there were people that did say that Charlamagne has been known to do that. Just say shit. Just run at the mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's fucked up. And like Derrick said, they have a platform. Both Derrick and Charlamagne have a platform that they can use to educate people, to help people as well. So you need to use this for good, Charlamagne. You need to use your powers for good, bruh. Don't get on here acting a fool like that. Like, that's inappropriate. And I mean, you know, legit, what you said, how you described it was right. So whether you knew it or not, now maybe you've gotten a little education on your end in terms of how you looked and what you were communicating to the people that are looking at your video. That was described to be rape. Real talk. And it was described to be rape. And that's how I took it. I assume a lot of people that watched that damn podcast took it the same way, because like Derrick said, I mean, it was so plainly laid out, you know, like what he said and the things that he described that took place. I mean, you couldn't come to any other conclusion, but it was rape. 2 and 2 is 4, not 3. So, I mean, that's fact, you know, #truth. So, I mean, I'm glad that I, you know, watched the video discussing his sit down with Charlamagne. But at the end of the day, it sounds like he just has a different attitude about it. Does not mean it did not happen the way that he originally described it. Does not mean that it is not exactly what we think it is. Walk like a duck, quack like a duck, look like a duck, it's a duck. But at the end of the day, the way that he is discussing it now, like Derrick said, is the way he should have discussed it before. He's way more empathetic about it now, you know, and he is way more aware. He's self-aware now about how he looked when he got on that podcast talking like he did. And for all the people, his boys that are with him, his friends that are supporting him, that know about him being like that, shame on you as well. And I agree with Derrick. They are predator protectors. And like I said, they're innate enablers. Because if you know that this is going on and you're going along with it, to me, you just as bad as the rapist or the predator. Because you should be speaking up. And a good example that Derrick gave was like when a little girl, a 6-year-old, you know, comes and says that her uncle or whomever raped her, abused her, molested her. And then the mother, instead of the mother protecting her, she jumps on her like, you shouldn't have been wearing what you was wearing, and you was trying to get his attention, and you better not ruin his name. You better not say nothing to nobody. Instead of her protecting her, she shames her to make her feel like it's her fault, to make her feel like she's wrong, to make her feel like she is, you know, the blame for it, when in actuality that's not the case. And I know that a lot of girls have gone through that in life. A lot of young ladies, a lot of girls that have gone through that have had that experience, have been treated as such. And I remember, like, you know, don't quote me to this, but I remember Oprah recounting some abuse that she experienced, and she said that is what was said to her as well, if I remember correctly. And you can Google this or look it up. I remember years ago, this is when Oprah first blew up, when her show was still on the air. This is years, like back in the 80s, 90s. She had said that she had said that she had been raped, she had been abused, and that they were saying that she was fast, and, you know, it was because of how she looked and all that. And she was like, I can't help my shape. Like, I can't help how I look, that I'm built like this. And she was right. And so instead of them supporting her and helping her and protecting her, they shamed her. They made her feel like it was her fault. And that's shame on them. For reals. So Derrick, you know, like I said, I like Derrick and I support Derrick because what he brings to the table is truth. and it's undeniable truth. And he's, you know, he's got a platform, like he said, he's got the platform to do it, so he's doing it. He's using his magic for good, his powers for good, and he's pretty much, you know, letting it be known, you know, that there are things going on in our society, in our culture, in our culture, in our black culture, that should not be going on, and he's bringing it to light, and I appreciate him. So thank you to Derrick Jaxn. Shout out to him for keeping us educated and keeping us woke. Thank you, Tay, for letting me know about that video, my dear. I appreciate that. Y'all like, dislike, comment, whatever. Give me some ideas of some shit y'all want to talk about. Y'all know I'm wide ass open. I can talk about any and everything you want to know something about me. Ask me about me. I don't care. But let's have a discussion. Let's have a dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some things that's going on in the world, because that's what's going to help us all. There are things I don't know, things I need to know. Educate me, help me. I don't know everything, but the things that I do know, I share. Things that I'm wrong about, I'll admit that I'm wrong and apologize for it. But definitely, let's have a conversation. Let's carry on a dialogue, and keep the lines of communication open, because that's what it's about. I'm about to do what I got to do and roll on. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. We will talk again. Thanks again for listening, and have a good night.